Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends with us on Skype. Hello, Michael.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I've been kind of growing over the weeks and months and years and decades doing spoken audio. It's what I've always gone back to. And you've been a mentor to me, Ian and Mark, in this. And there's always one problem, on doing it on a budget. The biggest problem is connecting one person to another. You can use Skype or Blink or Mumble or TeamSpeak, but they all go through a central server. And they all are kind of made for working in bad audio conditions. They have a lot of noise suppression. They don't work very well with a good mic or a decent cheap mic, in a good room that you've hung some blankets up in. And this is something that you and I, Ian, have been just, spending late nights trying out all this different stuff, and we haven't found anything, right?
It's true.
Yeah. So I've been trying to find something like this for a couple of years, and I've decided to finally just to break down and try to raise money on Indiegogo. And I have a programmer that I'm going to hire, Derek Slopey, who did Meowbit. We're going to hire him and maybe one other person to make this thing and make it to the criteria of what podcasters and radio people on a budget need, and what'll work for LRN hosts and what'll work for Freedom Fiends hosts and what'll work for anybody out there wanting to do a podcast with someone in a remote location who's not in the same room with them. And so we got this fundraising site. It's on Indiegogo. You can find it easy by going to FeenPhone.com. That's Fiend like the Freedom Fiends, FEEN. Phone like PHONE.com, FeenPhone.com.
Man, I got to hand it to you, Michael Dean. I mean, when you want something, you just go out there and get it. You find a programmer who's willing to do the work, which, by the way, I don't know how you manage to do that, to find programmers who are willing to actually work, because most of the ones that are worth it are busy, and it's hard to get their time. Yeah. And it sounds like you want to raise some money to actually pay for this to happen, which, of course, I hope that it can work out. I mean, is it really necessary, though? I mean, aren't you just really looking to spend, what is it, $20,000 you're looking to raise on this?
That's what we'd like to raise. I mean, that'd be to fully develop it and keep it going for a while, because you could get people to do favors and stuff, but if you really want someone to dedicate months to doing something, and programmers get hundreds of dollars an hour or more or less, but, you can't just say, hey, I've got $200. Can you do me this favor and work 80 hours a week for 2 months?
No doubt. Programming is, it's a lot of work. I took a little bit of programming in high school, and it's a difficult task. So, they're worth getting paid what they're worth. But the problem that I've encountered, and I've met Derek, by the way, he was at the Porcupine Freedom Festival, the guy you're proposing as the programmer.
He was the guy with the ambulance, if people want to know, the media ambulance.
Yeah, with like a boatload of electronic equipment, video and equipment and things like that. And there was a pretty cool little bus or a little ambulance that he had. And anyway, like my concern is that programmers from me, in my experience, and just my experience, have been difficult to find and difficult to keep and difficult to get to make something that's not full of bugs to where they're always fixing the bugs for you. Like, that's like, oh, well, here's a bunch of money to program something, and now here's more money every single month to fix all the bugs.
That's not a problem with him. He and I have done a large-scale project before with the Meowbit for Namecoin and .bit. And, people always rag on nepotism, like, oh, you always go with the people you know. You don't look for other people. And it's like, yeah, but you want to go with the people that you've been in the trenches with and seen how they perform, And if we do end up hiring another programmer, he is going to be the team leader for that aspect of it. For a second programmer, he knows what to look for. He knows if someone's BSing or not. And, he can work with them. So it's going to be an ongoing long-term project. We're calling it FeenPhone. I had trouble coming up with a name for it. I didn't want to put, the name of my show in it. I was going to call it like, Clear Chat or voice liberty or anything. But it's like, literally, if you take any 2 or 3 words and one of them's clear, one of them's voice, one of them's chat, or one of them's talk.
Probably copyrighted or trademarked.
You try to put them together, I guarantee you there's already a telecom in like Bangalore or China with that name. They're all taken.
Probably no FeenPhone.
By the way, no, there's not. I actually thought of calling it Free Talk Live. That'd be a great name for it because it would describe what it is, but you have such a brand recognition, it'd be too confusing.
It's funny. Now, once you get this created, are you going to just sort of release it for other podcasts?
Free, man. and free, open source. Anybody can play with the code, and it's going to be free for anyone to use. I mean, basically, there is stuff that'll do this, but it's either hardware that costs between $1,500 and $3,500, and you and I own some of those, Mark and Ian and I,
sure,
those boxes. Or, there are programs that do this, but they're proprietary and they cost $200 or per license, So if you have a network or a show with 12 hosts or co-hosts, that's getting into some big money there. So we're going to try to spend the money and the time to do it and get it done and then give it away to make the world a better sounding place.
It's a neat project. I hope that it pans out. And what is it? FeenPhone.com?
FeenPhone.com. And yeah, you could go there, Ian, and put your money where your mouth is if you want.
I certainly could. Although, what's it worth spending how much is this worth spending money on when I already have the equipment that I need to do? I mean, I get the idea of getting behind this. I just don't know if it's got enough of a market appeal. I mean, ultimately, there's all kinds of stuff out there, and you're on Skype right now, and you sound fine. And
yeah, but I have like $5,000 worth of outboard gear. What we're doing is trying to make something that'll work with a $50 USB mic and sound great, so anybody can do it. So it lowers the barrier to people making Liberty Media. And actually, this is something you need because you've complained that you don't have a good thing to connect the LRN show hosts to reliably.
TeamSpeak's been working pretty well, actually.
Has it? I thought there were problems with it, but
I mean, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it seems like you're going to spend $20,000 trying to shave off a half second of delay. I mean, that's the issue with internet transmission is when you're talking with somebody, the biggest problem you're going to run into, besides them not having a very good internet connection and you not being able to understand them.
Oh, don't forget the crappy mic.
Well, right, and there's that. But the other biggest problem is sometimes there's a lag. Like you'll say something and it'll be a second or two before the person responds because they haven't heard you finish saying what you had spoken. That was what you and I were trying to experiment with after hours, Michael Dean, was to try to find the program that has the delay at the minimum but also meets all the specs. And so it seems like, $20,000 to shave off half a second of delay to a second of delay. I mean, that's a tall order. That's why I say I hope it works because I would like to see the software pan out, but I don't know how much I would be willing to put in of the $20,000. To be honest with you, I mean
Thank you for that glowing endorsement, Ian Freeman.
I mean, I don't want to puff something up necessarily if it's not really worth the effort to put into it. I don't know.
I think it's worth it. If I had $20,000 to do it, I would have done this a year ago. It's that important to me. I really think that the quality, here's the thing. I think that Liberty Media is growing, but I think that the quality of it is not near overall what the corporate media is. And I think that even if people don't consciously go, oh, that's great audio or that's bad audio, they tend to tune out quicker. Yep. They don't listen as long. And we need to get our quality up to their quality.
I agree with that. And the creamyradioaudio.com is a huge step towards that, too.
There's no doubt about that. Hey, thanks, Michael Dean. That's FeenPhone.com if you'd like to donate to the fundraiser. And check him out at freedomfiends.com as well. All right, 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number here. We'll talk more saggy pants or whatever's on your mind coming up in moments. Hour number 3 is on the way. Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.